Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Venerable Sangha, CLS and IT. So we'll resume our discussion with the sixth method. So there are a couple of things which I would like to share. From last week lesson, I forgot to explain on one more thing, right? So we were discussing on the partial dissociation, kehichi vipayutta. So in the partial dissociation, there was one thing which I forgot to explain. That was that in this one, in this example, for the Vedana Khando, so it's Vedana Khando, it was a Khanda other than the Sankhara Khanda. So Vedana Sanya. So that's how I explain it. But so here Sankhara Khanda is also there, right? Here you see the Sankhara Khanda also. So in Sankhara Khanda also we find these characteristics of Ekena Khandena, Dasahayatanehi, Dasaidhatu Vipaito, and here we find it. The Sampayutta, it's applicable for one ayatana, one dhatu. Yeah, the Kehichi Sampayutta, the partial association is applicable for one aggregate and one element only, right? It's not applicable for the aggregates. So that we have to remember, right? So that I forgot to explain to show that Sankhara Khanda is also an example for this one, right? So the topic for this one should be Sankhara Khanda and the other two Nama Khanda, right? So yes.
好，那尊者呢有为大家补充在上一节课当中，在解释受孕的时候呢提到的一些有关于部分相应的情况。那么在第229段这一段的经文之中呢，当探究法呢是受孕的时候呢，在这里面我们也看到后面出现有行孕的内容。那这里的受孕，以及行孕呢，它们都是属于孕的方式来去进行探讨。在涉及到部分相应的时候呢，它们都是部分相应于一种的处以及一种的界。Yes, Pandit.
Okay. Right. So now we are moving into the 22 methods, 22 topics in the sixth method. So there are 22 in all here, right? So in the Mulapattam shadows, there's a chart which explains these 22 topics. So we'll be going through each of these topics right now, right? But at the moment, while we are explaining the partial association and partial dissociation, we went through this one, right? The first one we completed already. The matter aggregate we completed, and the next one is the feeling aggregate. That one also we completed already, and the third one, that was the consciousness aggregate. That one also we completed, and this one, now we have to look at the fourth one, which is the eye consciousness element, cakkhu-viññāṇa-dhātu. And so that's the topic that we need to learn now, right? Yes.
好，那在这里呢，我们看到在摩拉巴塔呢西亚多他的书中，在解释戒论这部分内容的时候呢，有我们已经介绍过的，诸如像受孕和时孕等等的内容。今天的话呢，我们将来 继续去学习有关于cakkhu-viññāṇa-dhātu眼识界的探究法的内容。
Right. So we move into the Pali. Right. So we have this Pali here. So cakkhu-viññāṇa-dhātu. Right. So in the Pali it says cakkhu-viññāṇa-dhātu. Ekena ayatanena ekaya dhātuya kehi sampayutta katehi vippayutta ekena khandena dasayatanehi sola sahit dhātuhi vippayutta ekena ayatanena ekaya dhātuya kehichi vippayutta. So the state of inquiry is the cakkhu-viññāṇa-dhātu you find here, right? Cakkhu. I don't know what's wrong here. Okay. Okay, doesn't work at all. Right. So cakkhu-viññāṇa-dhātuya, the associated dhamma, which now this is the I element base, I element, right? So here it's the cakkhu prasada, right? So that is the one that we have to read, right? So tihi kandehi sampayutta, which means tihi kandehi means tihi kandehi means with three aggregates. So what are those three aggregates? Right. So cakkhu-viññāṇa-dhātu, it belongs to the consciousness aggregate. So it's the feeling, perception, and mental formations, right? So those are the three aggregates which the I base is associated with. Then it says okay, finally on the pen, right? Okay, then ekena ayatanena ekaya dhātuya keji sampayutta. So keji sampayutta means it's partially disassociated, okay, with one base, right? So now we know the cakkhu-viññāṇa-dhātu that is associated with the 6 mental factors, right? Mental factors which comes for which is called as the sabbacita sadharan, right? So the consciousness which are applicable in all the which are associated with all the mental factors which are associated with all the consciousness, right? So these 6 mental factors is associated with them, right? So it's in the ideation base, right? And then ekaya dhātuya means again it's the ideation element, so that's how you get the answer for the sampayutta side. Please translate.
Third bande here should be 7 or 6 Niddesa.
Yes, it should be Yes, yes, it's 6, right? It's 7. It should be 7, right?
It should be 7, huh? But
Yeah. Sorry, right? I made an error here. It should be 7, not 6.
OK，本队。好，那我们来看一下，现在这里的探究法呢是眼识界。好，那眼识界我们需要知道，在究竟法的层面上，它指代的是眼识这样的一种识蕴。那接下来在经文之中，首先问到，如果是对于眼识而言的话，它可以可以与哪些的韵相应呢？那在这里面呢，它是与3种的韵相应。哪3种的韵呢？即是3种的除了识韵以外的名韵，它们是受韵、想韵以及行韵。那接下来，如果是眼识界，它能够与哪些的法部分相应呢？那在这里呢，与一种的处和一种的界部分相应。一种的处呢，即是法处。为什么呢？因为在眼识心识刹那的时候呢，除了眼识之外呢，还有与它相应的七变一切心所。那这些的心所法呢，则是部分的属于法界之中，因此呢，说眼识界是与法界部分的相应，法处部分的相应。那同样的一种的界呢，即是法界，因为与眼识界相应的七变一切心所呢，部分的属于法界，所以呢，我们看到这里面呢是与一种的处和一种的界部分相应。OK， 班长。
All right. So then we move to the disassociation side. The viparita side says ekena kandena dasahayatanihi solasai dhatuhi viparita ekena ayatanena ekaya dhatuya kehichi viparita. So it means kati viparita. With how many aggregates, with how many elements, with how many bases are these I element disassociated with. So the answer, it starts at ekena kandena. So ekena kandena means one aggregate. So it's straightforward. What is this aggregate? It's the matter aggregate, right? Then we have the next one, dasahayatani, which means the 10 with 10 bases. So what are these 10 bases? Those are the gross bases, right? Gross bases in the material. Okay. Then when it comes to the elements, there are 16 of them. So how to pick up these 16? Right. So first we have the 10 gross bases. Right. We have the 10 gross bases, and there are 6 other. Now there are in total there are 7 mind elements. So we are now this is the cakkhu-viññāṇa-dhātu. This is the eye consciousness element, right? So this eye consciousness element, it is disassociated with the 6 mind elements, right? 6 mind elements excluding the eye consciousness element, right? And then we move to the next part, which is the partial disassociation. It says ekena ayatanena ekaya dhatuya, right? It's the ideation element and ideation base, right? So in ideation element and ideation base, it's the 16 subtle matter and also the nibbana. So that's how we derive the answer for this one. Yes.
好，我们现在看一下，那么，眼识界与哪些法是属于不相应呢？在这里呢，是1种的愿和10种的处以及16种的戒。1种的处呢，即是色蕴，眼识界呢，作为名法与色法不相应，所以呢，与色蕴呢不相应。那接下来呢，10种的处呢，即是12处里面的10种粗色处。16种的戒呢，在这里呢，除了10种的粗色戒以外呢，还包含有6种的实戒，即是除了眼识戒以外，剩下的6种的实戒。除了眼识以外的耳识、鼻识、舌识、身识，还有呢，意戒和意识戒。那这是里面呢，因为它们一定不会同时升起，所以呢，它们也是不相应的。那部分不相应的法呢，则是会有1种的处和1种的戒。那首先1种的处呢，即是法处。那因为眼识界作为名法，与在法处之中的色法以及涅槃不相应。那法处之中的色法呢，是16种的细色。同样的道理，在诸戒之中呢，那眼识界与法界部分不相应，因为它与法界之中的16种的细色和涅槃不相应，部分不相应。OK，
Right. So any questions we can ask?
大家有问题没有？
No questions. Now it's easy. Right. Okay. So next one is the we'll look at the chart. Right. So when you look at the chart, now the next example is the origin truth, which is the samudayasacca. Right. We did an example which is quite similar to this when you are learning the partial disassociation, association and disassociation. So we'll go through this one. Right. So okay, samudayasacca. So samudayasacca means, what is the samudayasacca? It's the lobha chetasika. Right. Lobha. Right. The greed. Right. So it says it's tihi khandehi ekena ayatanena ekaya dhatuya sampayutta. So lobha, it belongs to the mental factor aggregates. So it is associated with 3 other mental factors. I'm sorry, it's associated with the 3 other. I'm sorry, right? I'm missing out on English now. I'm forgetting. Right. So samudayasacca, it's in the mental formations aggregate, right? Sankhara khandha. So it's associated with 3 other aggregates. Tihi khandehi. So what tihi khandehi means? 3 aggregates. So what are those 3 aggregates? Right. So what are those 3 aggregates? It is the feeling, perception, and then consciousness, right? Those are the 3 aggregates. They're associated. Then ekena ayatanena sampayutta. So ekena ayatanena means one element, one base. So it's very easy, right? Because it's the samudayasacca, it arises in the, it is associated with one element, that is the mind element, right? Mind element. And ekaya dhatuya sampayutta, it's also with one element. Again, it's the mano-viññāṇa-dhātu. It's the mano-viññāṇa-dhātu. because samudayasacca it's not associated with other mind elements, right? It's only associated with the mano-viññāṇa-dhātu. So that's why it's given as ekaya-dhātuya. Then it says ekena khandena right? Ekena khandena ekena ayatanena ekaya dhātuya keichi sampayutta. So ekena khandena means one it's partially disassociated with one mind with one aggregate. Now that we know it is the sankhara khandha, right? So I will write it here. Right? So that is the mental formations, right? So in mental formations it's associated. Now we know the samudayasacca, the lobha, it's arises in the 8 lobha chittas. So in the 8 lobha chittas there are 22 mental factors, right? There are 22 of them, and right. So in those 22, now if we divide these 22 into the aggregates, right? We have one here, the Vedana, have the Sanya. So here we have one Sanya. Yeah, there's the Sankhara, right? Sankhara Khandha. So from that 22, there are 20 which belongs to the Sankhara Khandha. So out of that 20, one is the lobha itself. And the other 19 mental factors now this 19 mental factors becomes the right? So this 19 mental factors becomes the ekena khandena keichi sampayutta, right? The partial association for the of the partial association with the greed, right? That we have to know. So this is the 19 mental factors, right? 19 mental factors in the Sankhara Khandha, excluding
Sorry,
the
Pandit.
lobha.
Urban in Sankara Kanda, this Jita Sika should be 19, right? Because 22 is the Jita Sika together 22. So Jita Sika 21.
Sorry.
No problem, Pandit. Maybe you mean altogether 22 Jita Sika, right?
Yes. Altogether
Okay.
20. I broke it down so that's easy to understand. So it's one here,
Okay.
the 20 is here.
Okay, right. No problem.
Right? So this becomes the keichi sampayutta here. Okay, please explain up to this point.
好，那么接下来呢，有哪些是属于部分的相应呢？我们首先需要了解到，对于贪心所而言呢，它会存在于贪心之中。那在贪心之中，一共能够转起的名法呢是多少个呢？那么，那在贪心之中能够转起的心所法呢，所有加起来是22种。那在这22种的心所法里面呢，如果我们以3种的名运去进行分类，其中呢是受运一个心所，就是受心所；想运一个心所，想心所。剩下的20个心所呢，即是属于行运之中。 在此对于极地而言，它所代表的贪心所呢，即是属于行运之中的一个。那剩下的呢，在行运之中还有19个相应心所。可以翻译。
Okay, so now we have the ayatana and dhatu, bases and the elements. So in those bases and elements, it's quite easy. Now in the case of bases and elements, all the mental factors, they belong to the ideation base, right? Ideation base and the ideation element. Okay, ideation, right? Okay, so this 22, now there are 22 mental factors. So one is lobha, and the other 21, right? This 21 becomes the Keichi Sampayukta. Right? So this 21 becomes the Keichi Sampayukta, partial disassociated with the elements and the bases. Right? Okay, please translate.
好，那么接下来，当我们这样分析之后呢，我们知道，那如何是与极地部分相应的内容呢？在这里呢，是一种的运，一种的处和一种的界。一种的运呢，即是行运，在行运之中呢，与其部分相应的呢，即是在行运之中的19个心所。那么一种的处呢，即是法处。那在法处之中呢，我们知道它包含有所有的心所。对于在贪心之中能够与贪心相应的心所法呢，一共呢是21种。所以呢，在此呢，部分相应的法处的内容呢，是除了贪心所以外，其他的能够出现在贪心之中的21种心所法。好，那部分相应的法界呢，也是如此，它的内容呢，也是21种的心所。OK 吧？
Okay, so now we move to the next part, which is the disassociation. For the disassociation, it's quite easy. So it says ekena khandena dasahayatanehi solasai dhatuve vipayukta. So it is disassociated with one aggregate, which is quite easy. It's the rupa, the matter aggregate. Then says dasahayatanehi, right? So ekena means one, right? I already know Pali. Then dasahayatanehi means the 10 elements, 10 bases, which is the 10 gross bases, right? Ten gross bases, and solasahi dhatuhi means there are 16, right? 16 of them. Okay, so how to get these 16? 10 gross bases, gross elements, right? I'm sorry. Then the other 16, it's straightforward, right? So samudayasacca, it is associated with the mano-viññāṇa-dhātu. So the other 6 mind elements, excluding the excluding the mano-viññāṇa-dhātu. So it's 6 here, right? So altogether it's 16. Then the other part is quite easy, very easy. The partial dissociation, it's ekena ayatanena and ekaya dhatuya kehichi vippayutta, partially dissociated with one element and one base, right? That is the ideation, right? Ideation element and the ideation base. So what are the dhammas? It says it's straightforward, right? It's the 16 subtle matter and nibbana. Right? 16 subtle matter and nibbana, right? So that's how we get the answer for this one, right? Yes.
好，那么对于极地贪心所而言，与它不相应的法呢，有一种的蕴、一种的10种的处和16种的戒。一种的蕴呢，即是色蕴；10种的处呢，即是10种的粗色处；16种的戒呢，应当注意，在此呢，它包含有10种的粗色处，除此以外呢，还包含有6种的实戒。那因为贪心所只能够存在于意识界之中，所以呢，它一定不会存在于50戒以及意戒之中，所以呢，它与50戒和意戒呢也是属于不相应的关系。那因此呢，我们得到16种的戒，即是粗色戒、50戒还有意戒。接下来部分不相应呢，那是有1种的处和1种的戒。贪心所呢，它与1种的处，即是法处部分不相应。那与法处之中哪些部分不相应呢？即是法处之中的16种的细色和涅槃不相应。那同样的，它与法界之中部分的16种的细色和涅槃是属于不相应。OK 吧。
Okay, so are there any questions?
那大家有问题吗？
Okay, no questions, right? Okay, so we move into the next state of inquiry, which is the sukhindriya. Okay, we will refer the chart. So I need to remind you a couple of things regarding this chart. Now we know this chart. It's basically it's used to get the sarupata, right? So if you are referring this chart, I think there aren't any issues with this chart, right? But there was another chart which showed the states of inquiries, the respective states of inquiry, which comes for each of these topics. For in that chart there were some issues, some errors. So like we were referring, like some of the students even in this class, Mr. JJ, and there was another friend of mine, Dhamma friend of mine who lives with me, and there was another person. So they all checked and they came up with the answer where it has gone wrong. So I'll recheck it and provide you with that chart in the next week, so that y'all can go to the these states of inquiries and get the right answers, right? So please have that in mind. There was another chart which shows the states of inquiries, which comes here, right?
尊者呢，他有提到在这里面呢，除了我们现在所看到的这个表格之外呢，在其他的文本之中也会出现有各种类型的表格。那尊者的一些学生呢，包括在我们这边的知识学友呢，也都有制作很多相关的类似的表格。那我们需要知道的呢，是在我们看到的表格这本书上的内容呢，它是经过整理之后的答案。这些的相关的内容的话呢，真正就会在大概下周的时候呢，到时候会给大家做一个分享和呈现。
Okay, so this is the chart, right? This is the table which included this thing, which is very helpful, but there were a couple of errors here, right? This is the one I was referring to.
那也就是说呢，在摩拉巴塔纳西亚多的书上呢，我们看到的将所有的探究法呢分为了这些的类型，但是呢，尊者说在这其中呢，可能有些地方它是存在一些的不准确的状况。
We'll move into the state of inquiry, which is the sukhindriya, right? So sukhindriya came in this. Okay, these are right. Bodily pleasure faculty. Okay, so that's what you are supposed to do. So here we find the sukhindriya. Sukhindriya means the feeling Okay, something's wrong with my whiteboard now. Maybe the internet is not good. You have the feeling, mental factor, in bodily pleasure faculty, right? So yes, so this is the sukhindriya, the sarupata for the sukhindriya, the vedana in the sukha sahagata cakkhu-viññāṇa, right? Saying in Pali. So it says tihi khandehi ekena ayatanena ekaya dhātuya sampayutta. So it is associated with three aggregates, right? This is now it's the feeling. Feeling means the feeling aggregate. So tihi khandehi means it is associated with three aggregates. So what are these three aggregates? It's the Okay. Okay, maybe I need to open a new page, right? We'll try that one. Okay, we'll try this one, right? Okay. So Tihi Kandehi, it's the perception, mental formations, okay, and then the consciousness, right? So that's how you get the three aggregates here. Then it says the partial, the association for the bases and elements, ekena ayatanena ekaya dhatuya sampayutta, which means it's associated with one it's not the same, right? It's two different. Right? So ekena ayatanena, it's one base. So what is this one base? It's the mind base. And ekaya dhatuya, it is the cakkhu-viññāṇa-dhātu. Cakkhu-viññāṇa-dhātu. Right? So that's how we get the answer for ekaya dhatuya. Okay, then we have the partial association. It says ekena ayatanena ekaya dhatuya kehichi sampayutta. Ekena ayatanena and ekaya dhatuya. So it's okay. It's the same, right? I'll write it here. So it's one. It's the ideation element and the ideation base. So now this feeling, okay, this feeling mental factor, the Vedana Chetasika which arises. So in this chitta, there are seven mental factors, the Sabbacita Sadharana, and from that from that one is the feeling, right? One is the feeling mental factor. So it is associated with the other six mental factors. Six mental factors excluding the feeling, right? So that's how we get the answer for the association side, right? Okay, sampayutta side. Okay.
那么在这里呢，我们看到的探究法呢是 sukhindriya， 就是乐受。需要明确的是，乐受呢，它是与生识相应的乐受。好，那如果是生识的乐受，它与哪些法是相应的呢？它与三种的蕴、一种的处和一种的界相应。三种的处呢，其实除了乐受所对应的受蕴以外的三离蕴，它们是想蕴、行蕴和识蕴。一种的处呢，即是意处。那因为乐受作为心所法，它只能够与诸心完全的相应，所以呢，它与属于生识的意处相应。那界呢，一种的界呢，即是生识界。 部分的相应呢，则是乐受与一种的处和一种的界部分相应。那么一种的处呢，即是法处；一种的界呢，即是法界。那这里法处跟法界的内容呢，即是包含在其中的6种与乐受相应的心所法。那么它们呢，就是在生时刹那之中，那除了乐受以外的其他的七变界心所。
Right. So now we move to the next part, which is the dissociation. Katihi vippayuttang, it says, ekena khandena dasahayatanehi solasahi dhatuhi vippayuttang, ekena ayatanena ekaya dhatuya kehicha vippayuttang. So ekena khandena, it's easy. It's the matter aggregate. Then dasahayatanehi, 10 elements, 10 bases, that is the 10 gross bases. Then it says solasai dhatuhi. Solasai means 16 elements. So what are those 16 elements? The 10 gross bases. Then we have the right now this is the sukhindriya. So it is associated with the cakkhu-viññāṇa-dhātu. So the other 6 mind elements, excluding the cakkhu-viññāṇa-dhātu. Right, so those are the 6. Then the other one is quite easy. This is the partial dissociation. It says ekena ayatanena ekaya dhatuya kehicha vippayuttang. So this is one element and one base, which is the ideation base and ideation element and ideation base. So it's the 16 subtle matter and then the nibbana. So that's how we get the answer for the dissociation.
接下来对于不相应的部分呢，首先我们看到，那乐受与一种的蕴、10种的处和11种的界不相应。一种的处呢，即是一种的蕴呢，即是色蕴。乐受作为名法，与所有的色法不相应。那在这里呢，首先与色蕴不相应。那在诸处之中呢，它与10种的粗的色处是不相应。那界呢，则是16种的界。这里的16种的界呢，包含有10种的粗的色界以及6种的识界。需要注意的是，乐受因为只能够存在于生识之中，所以呢，它必然不会存在于七识界之中，除了生识以外的其他的6种的识界。所以呢，它与10种的粗色以及眼识、耳识、鼻识、舌识以及意界、意识界这6种的识界呢，加起来一共16种的界呢不相应。部分的不相应呢，则是有一种的处和一种的界。一种的处、一种的界呢，即是法处和法界。它们的内容呢，即是16种的粗色处以及涅槃。
Okay, so the next state of inquiry is the upekkhindriya, indifference faculty. So we'll move to that one, right, for upekkhindriya. Right, so for the case of the upekkhindriya, so upekkhindriya is the upekha-vedana, right? The upekha-vedana, we consider that one as upekkhindriya. So then it says te khandehi ekena ayatanena chatuhi dhatuhi sampayutta. So it is associated with three aggregates. So what are these three aggregates? It's the perception, mental formations, and the consciousness aggregate, right? So those are the three. The other part is quite easy. Ekena ayatanena. So ekena ayatanena sampayutta. So ekena ayatanena means the mind base, right? Manayatana. That's one. Then chatuhi dhatuhi sampayutta, associated with four elements. So what are these four elements? Oh, it's not chatuhi. It's, I'm sorry, right? I missed. I got it wrong. It's chahi dhatu, right? It's six. It's not chatuhi. It's chahi. I read it incorrectly. So chahi means six. So what are those six? So we know in cakkhu-viññāṇa-dhātu, the Vedana, which is a feeling which is associated with the cakkhu-viññāṇa-dhātu, is the sukha and the dukkha vedana. So now we are looking at the upekha vedana. So which means that in here we have to get it as the other six mind elements, right? So we have to write it as six mind elements, excluding the cakkhu-viññāṇa-dhātu, right? This is associated with the other mind elements. So that's how we get the answer for the sampayutta. So next we'll move to the kehichi sampayutta, the partial association. It says ekena ayatanena ekaya dhatuya kehichi sampayutta. So for this one, it's one, right? Ekena ayatanena ekaya dhatu is the ideation base. So in the ideation base, now the upekha vedana, the equanimity feeling, this is associated with 46 mental factors, right? So what are those 46 mental factors? So we have to deduct some of those mental factors which do not arise with the consciousness, which is with the equanimity feeling. So what are those? We have to deduct, we have to remove the piti, then you have to deduct dosa, issa, maccariya, then the kukucha, right? So now here we have five mental factors, and in addition to that we have to deduct the feeling as well. So the reason to deduct the feeling is that to deduct that is that because we are looking at the state of inquiry itself is the feeling mental factors, right? So we cannot say the feeling is associated with feeling. So because of that, we deduct that one as well. So all in all, now there are six mental factors here: piti, dosa, issa, maccariya, kukucha, and feeling, of course, is vedana, right? So from the 52, right? Okay, we have to deduct, not from the 46, right? So from the 52 mental factors, we deduct this 6. Right? So that's how we get the answer of these 46 mental factors. Yes, sir.
好，那在这里我们来看一下下一个探究法是 upekkhindriya 即是舌根。那舌根呢，它对应的究竟法呢，即是舍受。那么如果是舍受呢，那么我们首先来看一下与它相应的相应的法有哪些。那在这里呢，我们得到的答案是它能够与3种的蕴、1种的处、1种的戒相应。那3种的蕴呢，即是想蕴、行蕴和识蕴。那1种的处呢，即是意处。六种的戒呢，即是除了生识以外的6种的实戒。为什么呢？因为对于舍受而言，与其相应的心法呢，或者是时运呢，那我们需要在其中呢，在18戒里面，只纯粹的属于时运部分的70戒里面呢，要去扣除生识的情况。为什么呢？因为在生识之中呢，并不会出现舍受。那所以呢，我们应当在此呢去除生识。那么剩下的眼耳鼻舌识，还有呢眼耳鼻舌识界，还有呢意界意识界之中呢，则是可能出现舍受，即它们呢有可能与舍受呢处于相应的关系。那因此呢，有6种的界与舍跟舍受相应。部分的相应呢，则是有1种的处和1种的戒。那1种的处呢，即是法处；1种的戒呢，即是法戒。那么它们的内容是什么呢？在此我们应当了知，对于舍受而言，与其相应的心所法，一共可以是多少种呢？我们得到的答案是46种，以及呢，在此的部分相应的法处和法界所指代的内容，就是它们其中的46种心所。这46种的心所呢，即是全部的52心所，去除不能够同时与舍受升起的喜心所、嗔心所、嫉妒、亲昵、疑以及受本身所剩下的46种的心所法。OK， 班的。
Right. Okay. So Katihi Vipayutta, the next one is on the disassociation. So it says Ekena Khandena Dasahayatanehi Ekadasahi Dhatuhi Vipayutta. So it's Ekena Khandena, which means it is disassociated with one matter, one aggregate, which is the matter aggregate. So Dasahayatane means it is dissociated with 10 bases. So what are those 10 bases? Those are the 10 gross bases. Then we have Ekadasahi Dhatu, which means 11 elements. So these 11 elements are the 10 gross bases, and also the bodily pleasure faculty, right? The cakkhu-viññāṇa-dhātu. Cakkhu-viññāṇa-dhātu. That's how we get the 11. We get the 11 bases. So then, ekena ayatanena ekaya dhatuya kechi vipayutta. It's disassociated with one element and one base, which is the ideation base. So in the ideation base, it's the same. The sarupata is the same. So we get the 16 subtle matter, and then we get the nibbana. Right? Straightforward. Yes. Yes, sir.
Sorry, 班的。 好，接下来呢，舍跟即是舍受所不相应的法呢，即是不相应的法呢，即是一种的蕴、十种的处和11种的界。一种的蕴呢，即是色蕴；10种的处呢，即是10种的粗的色处。那在此11种的界包含有哪些呢？首先是10种的粗的色界。除此以外呢，我们刚刚有提到，对于舍受呢，它一定不会存在于生识之中。所以在此呢，它与生识界也是不相应的。我们得到的11种的界，即是10种粗色界，再加上生识界。舍受与哪些法是部分不相应呢？答案是一种的处和一种的界，即是法处和法界。它的内容呢，即是16种的微细色和涅槃。OK 吧？
So the next state of inquiry is the condition by basis is the contact, which comes from the paticca samuppada. That is the saḷāyatanapaccayā phasso. Right? So saḷāyatanapaccayā phasso. In saḷāyatanapaccayā phasso, it's the sarupattha for here. It's the phassa cetasika, right? Phassa we call it in English contact, right? Contact. So then it's first in the association side. It says tihi khandehi ekena ayatanena sattahi dhātuhi sampayutto. So tihi khandehi means with three aggregates. So what are those? So what are those three aggregate? Phassa belongs to the mental factor, mental formations aggregate. So then it's the feeling, perception, and the consciousness, right? Then ekena ayatanena sattahi dhātuhi sampayutto. It's associated with one base, that is the mind base, right? The manayatana. And then it says sattahi dhātuhi sampayutto. So satta means 7. So what are those 7? Now we know phassa, it's a sabbacita sadharana cetasika, right? It's called universal mental factor, right? So it is associated with the 7 mind elements, with all of them, right? Because it arises with all the chittas. Then it says ekena khandena ekena ayatanena ekaya dhātuya kechi sampayutto. So I'm writing a different color here. The partial disassociation, it says ekena khandena, right? It's ekena khandena. So ekena khandena means it's associated, partially associated with one mental factor, which is the mental formations. So in the mental formations, now it's now feeling and perception. The phassa, it's so now it's a universal mental factor. So it's, we know there are 52 cetasika. So in the 52 cetasika, I'll remove this arrow here. It's not correct. Right. So in the 52 mental factors, for Vedana, we get one mental factor. For Sanya, another mental factor. Then for Sankara, we get the other 50, right? So out of this 50, this phassa is one of that, right? one of those, that 50. So the other 49, so the other 49 becomes the Kehichi Sampayutta here, right? The for the aggregates. Okay. Now we move to the next one. Ekena ayatanena ekaya dhatuya Kehichi Sampayutto. So this one is the ideation element and the ideation base. So in the case with the ideation element and with the ideation base, so from those 52 mental factors, we deduct the phasso, right? The contact cetasika. So the 51 partially disassociated with this element, with the elements and the bases, right? Ekena ayatanena ekaya dhatuya Kehichi Sampayutta. Yes.
好，那接下来我们看到的探究法是 saḷāyatanapaccayā phasso。它的内容呢，就是落到phasso这一个内容上，即是处。那处呢，我们了解到它是一种心所，在诸运之中呢，它属于行运的内容。接下来我们来看一下它与哪些法属于相应等的关系。第一种。那处与哪些法是相应的呢？与三种运一种的处和一种的戒相应。三种的运呢，即是除了行运以外的三灵运、受运、想运、行运。一种的处呢，即是一处。七种的戒呢，即是七十戒。那我们知道，行运作为心所法呢，它能够与所有完整的只包含有十运的法呢，处于相应的关系，所以呢，在此是全部的七十戒都可以。部分相应的法呢，是有一种的运、一种的处和一种的戒。第一种的运呢是行运，在诸迷运之中呢，我们首先要明确行运的内容包含有涵盖处在内的50种的心所法。那么在此与处处于相应关系的在行运之中呢，则是除了处以外剩下的49种的心所。所以在此呢，部分相应的一种运呢是行运之中的49种的心所法。那一种的处呢，一种的运呢是行运，那一种的处呢是法处。法处之中哪些法与处心所相应呢？即是法处之中的除了处以外的51种心所法。那法界呢也是同样的内容。OK，班队。
Are there any questions?
请问大家有问题没有？
Okay, no questions. So we'll end the class, finish the class tonight.
Panday, I think Vibhayuddha we haven't done.
Sorry?
Vibhayuddha.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I forgot it. Yeah, I was thinking about finishing the class. Because I have another class now.
Oh, okay.
4 classes today.
Very busy.
Yes, because we have to finish complete some areas for this the class which I'm doing in Sinhalese for the bhikkhus. So that's why. Okay, so we'll do the Vipayutta side, right? Katihi Vipayutta. Before Vassa, we are going to finish that, right? Okay. Ekena khandena dasahayatane dasai dhātuve Vipayutta. So Ekena khandena, it's Vipayutta. So Ekena khandena means it's the one aggregate, it's the matter aggregate, right? Then dasahayatane means it's the 10 gross bases, and dasai dhatu again, it's the 10 gross elements, right? Ekena ayatanena ekaya dhatuyak echi vipayutto. It's partially disassociated with one element and one base, which is the ideation element and ideation base. So 16 subtle matter, and then Nibbana. Right? So that's how you get the answer for this one.
好，那我们再来看一下，处与哪些法是属于不相应的关系呢？它与一种的运、十种的处、十种的界是不相应的。一种的处呢是一种的运呢是色运，一种的处呢是十种的处呢是十种粗色处，十种的界呢是十种粗色界。那除此以外呢，受运处心所呢，它与哪些法是部分的不相应呢？它与一种的处和一种的界部分不相应。那同样和上述的内容类似，在这里的一种的处、一种的界呢，即是法处和法界，它的内容呢是16种的细色以及涅槃。
Okay, so any questions?
请问大家还有什么问题吗？
Okay. All right, so we'll finish the class by sharing the merits. So we'll share the merits which we accumulated during this session by learning, by teaching and reflecting the supreme words of our Lord Buddha. So with this wish, we'll have that wish from this kusala. May this kusala karma be a supportive factor for us to attain Nibbana. May this kusala karma be a supportive factor for our teachers, our Dhamma friends to attain Nibbana. May this kusala karma be a supportive factor for all the beings in this world and in the other worlds to attain Nibbana. May all the beings be well, happy, healthy and peaceful. So with this wish, we'll share the merits by reciting the final stanzas of the Abhidhamma commentary. Yang pattang kusalang tassa anubhavena panino sabbe saddhamma rajassa ñatva dhammang sukhavahang papunantu visuddhaya sukhaya patipattiya asoka manupayasang nibbana sukha muttamang chirang tittatu saddhammo dhamme huntu sagarva sabbe pisatta kalena sammadevo pavassatu yatarakkinsu purana surajano taterimang rajarakkhatu dhammena attanova pajang imaya dhammanu dhamma patipattiya buddhang pujemi imaya dhammanu dhamma patipattiya dhammang pujemi imaya dhammanu dhamma patipattiya sanghang pujemi අද්ධායිමාය පටිපත්තියා ජාති ජරා ව්‍යාධි මරණම් හා පරිමුච්චිස්සාමි ඉදම්මේ පුඤ්ඤං ආසවක්ඛයා වහං හෝතු ඉදම්මේ පුඤ්ඤං නිබ්බානස්ස පච්චයෝ හෝතු මම පුඤ්ඤ භාගං සබ්බ සත්තානං භාජේමි තේ සම්බේ මේ සමං පුඤ්ඤ භාගං ලබන්තු බුද්ධ ශාසනං චිරං තිට්ඨතු බුද්ධ ශාසනං චිරං තිට්ඨතු බුද්ධ ශාසනං චිරං තිට්ඨතු සාදු සාදු සාදු.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you for Pandey's teaching. So, Pandey, our sixth method will finish or will continue?
Sorry?
Our sixth method will continue next week.
Yes,